Hi, I wanted to respond to some of the emails I've been getting regarding how do I set up my workstation from a health and well-being perspective now that I'm working from home. So some of you have got workstations already, but you've not been really focusing on them from an ergonomic standpoint. Some of you have been relocated from the office environment and you're now working from home and you have to create a workstation because you don't have a home office. And so what are you focused on and what's important to your health and well-being? Let's look at that. So before we get into the workstation, how you're working, the number one thing that's going to be really critical to your body and to your ability to focus, be creative and engaged, believe it or not, is the lighting. So look at where you're going to be working and let's make sure that you're getting enough light. If as close to daylight is what you're aiming for, and if you don't get it through a window, then bring as much lighting into your workstation area that you're now focusing on so that your body is able to respond to that light. Because believe it or not, light is like medicine. When you're working in an area where there isn't enough light, then your body is fighting its ability to keep engaged, focused, because you're producing more melatonin. When you have the right lighting, then your body is producing cortisol, serotonin, dopamine, all those chemicals that actually help you to remain engaged and focused. So lighting is the number one thing to consider. Secondly, let's put some biophilia, some plants, some wood grains, some pictures of the environment around us. Our body responds to that. Our nervous system, our blood flow, our chemicals again, all respond positively to biophilia and nature. So if we don't have it through the window or we don't have it in for whatever reason, let's bring it into our workstation area, because even if we're not intentionally looking at it, but it's there, it's going to support our health and well-being. While we're working, let's make sure that we have water that's always in front of our face. So whenever we can, if we see water, we will drink it. If we don't see water, then we don't think to hydrate. And if you are working and suddenly you feel sort of thirsty, you're already dehydrated. So all these elements are going to help you to be proactive towards creating the right environment that you're going to actually be working from. Not even considering the workstation right now. Nutrition. Let's make sure we're having those micronutrients, those vitamins, those minerals, not looking at sort of those carbs. Take the carbs away, take all the big protein away, and let's reinforce fruits, vegetables if you can, but anything that is going to support the nourishing of your blood rather than the exhaustion of your blood. So nourishment is going to be a factor too. So all of these things are important. Now you're sitting at your workstation, let's look at that. So you have what's called a wraparound area, which is an area you want everything that you're accessing throughout the course of the day to be within arm's length. That's called your wraparound area. So when you're working with sort of documents or items that need consistent touching, let's make sure you're not sort of overstretching, which can create some awkward postures and some subluxations in your spine and all sorts of things that could happen. So that's the first thing, your wraparound area. Make sure you have your natural things that you're working with constantly throughout the day right in front of you. The monitor should be arm's length away. If it's too far, in other words, if you're reaching out now and the monitor is further away, you're going to get eye strain. If you're hitting the monitor at this point, because you can't stretch your arm out and your monitor's there, you're going to get eye strain. So what we want to do is reduce that eye strain. So monitor at arm's length, and let's make sure the taskbar is actually in alignment with your vision. If the taskbar is too high and you're looking up like this, you're going to get neck issues. If you're looking down like this, you're going to get neck and shoulder issues. So monitor distance, number one, outside of the environment you've created. Now let's look at the heart of the workstation, which is your chair. The chair, if you can have the chair that has some ability to recline, this is what's best for your spine. If you're in this situation, then your spine is actually upright and it's going to start to get strained over time. And you're going to start to sort of lean forward and your arms are going to be relaxing on the desk. And the reason you end up relaxing on the desk at the end of the day is because the tissues around your spine have worked too hard to support the spine and now your arms are doing the job. When you recline back like this, that's the less pressure on your discs. That's where you want to be. And if you can't because you're sitting in a chair that isn't an ergonomic chair, then stretch your back every 15-20 minutes, crack it, just move your arms around. As silly as it might look, all of this is helping your health and well-being. So the chair is going to be very, very important. Now, when you can get under your desk or table, wherever you're working, you want to get a little bit under that so that you can recline back. So the keyboard is close to sort of where your arms are, because you want your arms to be relaxed and working on the keyboard like this. You don't want to be having your arms on the arm pads or on the desk, because typically they may come up too high, and then what's happening is your shoulders are too high. So be conscious of where your shoulders are. I mean, nobody stands in a meeting like this. It looks silly for one thing, but it would be really painful for your arms and your shoulders after a while. So we all sit, and stand like this. We want to be sitting like that too. So if our arms are supported on items that are too high, then our shoulders are going to come up. So be conscious of that. So now we want to look at your mouse. When you're mousing, you want to have no touching of your median nerve, which is here, on the desk. You want your mousing so that you're actually mousing and there's an area of distance here, because if you start to have consistent movement on your forearm here, just this area where your median nerve is, then you're going to get an inflammation. It's going to tighten up, and it's over time going to start to give you some serious pain. And you might say, well, I've been doing that for ages, no problem. Well, you know what? The problem is that it isn't a problem at the time, and then it compounds and becomes a problem. So I'm trying to give you information that's going to help you to be proactive so that you don't get to that situation where you go, wow, I'm suddenly hurting here, or my median nerve at the back of my neck is hurting. It's because of what you did 4 months ago or 2 weeks ago. So remember, median nerve off of any area where it's not actually having any touching, so that you don't get that inflammation, you don't get carpal tunnel. Your arms, so you're not hunched like this. You want to make the monitor is just that arm's distance away, and the taskbar isn't aligned. Now when you're sitting, you want to make sure that your feet are flat on the floor and that you've actually got a 90-degree angle on your knees. So those are going to be a critical thing too. If the desk, you can't get under the desk, then look what you can do to raise the desk slightly. Just get some wood or something on each leg so that you can actually bring it up slightly. And now you're in a working environment where you're working, where your shoulders are relaxed, where the monitor is the right distance, where your feet are flat on the floor, where you're reclining back slightly, and now your body is actually saying thank you. Thank you for doing this. So happy right now that you're doing this. And then it'll be even happier if you leave your chair now and again and walk around and take your laptop if you can to be able to stand up and start working. So all of this with the right nourishment, the right hydration, the right light, the right biophilia around you, that should be where your focus is, because all of that is going to support your health and well-being and make you more focused, more productive, and more energized. You have more energy at the end of the day, and that's what we're aiming for. So when you have more energy at the end of the day, then I highly recommend go and buy a motorcycle and go and enjoy the environment on your motorcycle. If not, then run really fast.